Hello, my name is Hemingway Jones. Welcome to the channel. From a fountain pen, you can go anywhere. And today I'm going to take you deep into the world of film and television, into 3 films that show fountain pens as an important part of character development and of the plot. So let's take a look right now. The first film I'd like to speak about is a movie from 1999 called The Talented Mr. Ripley. This was directed by Anthony Minghella. It stars Jude Law, Matt Damon, and Gwyneth Paltrow, among others. Now, this is a very immersive film. It's very seductive in its beauty, in its style. It has some of the best fashion featured in any film. The locations are all lush Italian locations on the Amalfi Coast, in Rome, in Venice, just absolutely beautiful, and the time period is so perfect for fountain pens. Now, it's been said that Jude Law's character, Dickie Greenleaf, uses a Montblanc 149, but as I look at it, I think it's a Classique or possibly a 146. It's hard to judge size sometimes in film, but what I'm pretty sure it's not is a 149. Nevertheless, this pen just gives a feeling of style, of sophistication, and of wealth, because Dickie Greenleaf's character is a wealthy individual with this fantastic free spirit lifestyle with his fiancée, Marge Sherwood. Of course, Tom Ripley comes along and really destroys all their lives. Tom comes in as sort of the ultimate disruptor and just takes over Dickie's identity. And a big part of that is how he writes, his voice, and yes, his signature as signed with that magnificent Montblanc pen. Now, even though I can't quite nail down which one it is, although I am 90% positive that it's a Classique, I am positive that in the 2024 Netflix update called Ripley, which stars Andrew Scott as Tom Ripley, in this film, the Montblanc 149 plays a very big part. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, so don't worry. But in this one, the pen is very much a focus of everything that Dickie Greenleaf's life means and encounters. It's that essence of affluence, of sophistication and freedom. And Tom sees it that way, and it becomes a very important symbol in the plot. In fact, Bella Penna is said by many characters along the way, basically, hey, beautiful pen, as Tom uses the pen to sign his name at various points in the series. So it is clearly a 149 in all of its girthy, streamlined beauty. It looks stunning in the black and white cinematography, and it's really fun and interesting to see this magnificent pen being used as essentially a symbol of wealth, affluence, and the character of Dickie Greenleaf. Our next film is from director Ron Howard, and it's 2001's A Beautiful Mind, starring Russell Crowe and Ed Harris. An absolutely amazing film that gets you inside of Professor John Nash's mind, an incredible mathematician and genius who struggles with his mental health throughout the film. In regards to the fountain pens, there are 2 very important scenes that are pivotal. One is that John Nash, as an undergraduate at Princeton, he is not attending to his classes. He's pursuing his own original idea and wanting to get all this credit for it. A senior professor, played by Judd Hirsch, takes the young John Nash into a room and shows him where the senior professor is undergoing what's known as the pen ceremony. And this is where all the members of the faculty show the respect for his lifetime of achievements by each giving him a pen, by placing it on the table, shaking his hand, and just congratulating him on a life in academics. It's a very moving scene, and the young John Nash looks on it sort of longingly, and it starts to sink in that he needs to actually accomplish something before he can achieve the level of success that he wants for himself. It's also incredible to watch as a fan of fountain pens to see all these beautiful pens being laid before this person. So these would have all been vintage and celluloid pens. They're probably absolutely brilliant. Now this acts as a bookend in this film, because after all the challenges and tribulations and all that John Nash has gone through, wrestling with his relationships, with his mental health, and he's finally at the point where he can control it, and he is accomplishing things, and people are now starting to congratulate him on all that he's done in his life. That moment happens to him. And you can see each professor coming up to him, putting a pen in front of him, and I'd say probably 90% of them are expensive Mont Blanc pens. Absolutely brilliant, touching moment. And as a pen collector, I think if that ever happened to me, I'd probably say thanks and give them back. I mean, I almost feel bad watching the scene because they're just such beautiful pens. But of course, it's a film, and it's just all about showing all that he's accomplished, and it's incredibly touching, and it's beautiful to see how these two scenes interact. Although sadly, this is not actually a real thing at Princeton, but it's one of those traditions that probably should be. It's just a very moving scene, and it just shows fountain pens as being integral to academia, towards learning, towards aspiring, writing, and showing respect. And it also shows that they make absolutely beautiful gifts. It reminds me a little bit of the actual tradition here in New England of giving pen and pencil set for graduation. That's been a tradition for a long time. So just a very moving scene in an absolutely fantastic, immersive, and interesting film. Let's shrink our screen down a bit and enter the world of television for the amazing and underappreciated series by Brian Fuller known as Hannibal. Hannibal starred Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter, probably doing a more magnificent job of embodying this incredibly charismatic, refined, sophisticated, urbane serial killer than even Anthony Hopkins did. It's an absolutely brilliant portrayal. Hugh Dancy as Will Graham, his foil in the show, and it's a constant cat and mouse game between these two. It is incredibly beautifully shot, has so much style, so much attention to detail, and one of the things that didn't escape the detail of this show is fountain pens and writing. The final episode of Series 2, Episode 13, called Mitsumono, shows beautiful calligraphy that was done by Diane. She has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description. But her hand and the way that she does the calligraphy perfectly encapsulates all of the sophistication, the learning, the knowledge, the style of Hannibal Lecter. So it's an incredible expression of his character. This Hannibal Lecter is the type of person that is going to hand write your dinner invitation. The fountain pen that she used to do this incredible calligraphy is from St. DuPont, and it's the Defy Paul Finish fountain pen. Absolutely amazing what it can do in her trained hands, but marrying her incredible calligraphy with this incredibly compelling take on the Hannibal Lecter character just made for an extremely powerful scene. My favorite parts of that show were always the little details that Hannibal was into, knotting his tie with specificity, wearing a certain tweed jacket, matching everything so perfectly, sending invitations. But an absolutely amazing show that was beautiful to watch, although parts of it were quite strikingly gruesome. But nevertheless, a great fountain pen and an incredible show. So, what do you think of these three choices of using fountain pens that I found in films? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. And if you've watched to this point, please subscribe. I'd love to have you with us as we explore more and more places where fountain pens come up. Come on. Also, if you want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a member. I'd love to have you behind the scenes as well. So I make new videos all the time, and I have a live show Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So I can promise you we will see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So take care of yourself.